What's up guys, I'm Skilla and this is Nerd Stuff with Skilla, and today I want to talk about the third episode of Happy on Syfy. It's called When Christmas Was Christmas and I thought it was a great episode. There will be spoilers in this, so if you have not gotten caught up on Happy, you should get that way. Come back here and watch this video. So he has this crazy car chase where he's in the ridiculous mobile and he's being chased by cops, and eventually he crashes the car and just climbs out of a window and escapes, and all these people are trying to make sure that he's okay, and he's just like, yes, Merry Christmas, take it easy, it's the holiday season. They decide to go and try to have a caricature done of the evil Santa, the very, very bad Santa, and they do, and it's pretty accurate, which is cool. Now, throughout this episode, there are flashbacks of different holiday seasons in Nick Sax's past, some of them with his cop lady friend and some of them with his ex-wife. And he's really just going down a spiral in these flashbacks. You see him go from kind of a dirty cop to something really bad happened, and I don't know if we saw the guy die, but we saw him pretty much beat a guy to death over something absolutely heinous that this guy did. So while deserved, he still was well out of his realm of what he can do as a cop. We see the two ladies working together to try and find Haley, and in the process of doing that, they're interviewing parents whose daughters have been taken, and they find a couple of parents who, instead of their daughter being taken, they've actually just held her up in their attic, and the girl is saved, and presumably they get justice. But it's kind of a crazy way to see that Amanda is having to deal with people pretending that they're going through something traumatic when they aren't, and she's definitely going through something super traumatic, you know? Nick decides to go to this creepy bar called the North Pole after interviewing the hooker Angel again, and she tells him that he should go to the North Pole. Now, this bar is just riddled with dirty Santas who are all like just eating up these Christmas-themed strippers, and he gets in contact with an elderly stripper who's like a matriarch of the North Pole. They call her Mrs. Claus, and she tells him that there used to be a Santa Claus who killed himself because he was getting a little too fresh with his clientele, which is disgusting, but he also had a son, and that's who we think that the very bad Santa is. So Nick is out and about trying to find the very bad Santa, and there's a really cute scene where Happy's like sliding down one of the stripper poles with a little fireman's hat on, and it's ridiculous. This episode is really funny. There are a lot of parts that made me laugh out loud. Now, we do see that Amanda in one of the flashbacks tried to tell Nick that she was pregnant, and Nick had just gotten done beating this guy nearly to death. So he's like, yeah, why don't we bring another life into this world where, with all of these wonderful people and all of these wonderful places, and maybe she'll grow up to be just like me. And then she doesn't tell him that she's pregnant. And that's why Nick doesn't know. So hopefully in the next episode we'll see exactly how their relationship fell apart. I would assume it has something to do with his substance abuse, but I'm not 100% sure on that, as I am not finished with the graphic novel yet. Still working on it. I am reading it, and it is great. So if you haven't read the graphic novel, I definitely recommend it. And yeah, there's some pretty heavy subject matter in this show. You know, you've got substance abuse, you've got divorce, you've got kidnapping, you've got child predators, you've got dirty cops, all of this crazy, hard, dirty subject matter going on, but it's also very, very funny, which is a really nice, refreshing type of show to me. Like, getting to see a show that deals with heavy, heavy issues, but also has a very light-hearted sensibility about it is really, really nice. At the end of the episode, Nick pops out back to take a leak behind the North Pole, where he is accosted by the very bad Santa, and now the very bad Santa earlier in this episode totally drugged Haley. Now, we don't think that it showed us exactly what he gave her, but he wanted to use her to try and find Nick. And I'm not sure exactly how that works. Like, maybe she was trying to find... I assume it has something to do with Happy. I assume that she was able to guide him towards Nick because of something related to Happy, but I'm not exactly sure on that. And he does find Nick as he's out back of the North Pole. And they get into a scuffle. It's a really cool fight scene with this gnarly Santa just beating the mess out of Nick. And Nick just keeps on getting back up because he's just invincible, apparently. And it was really interesting. At the end of the episode, the very bad Santa has like walked a little bit away, and Happy comes out of the North Pole and goes up to Nick, and he's looking at Nick, and the hairs on the back of his shoulders stand up. Happy's hair stands on end, and he turns around, and the very bad Santa's looking him right in the eyes, and he says, "I can see you." And that's where the episode ends. So I'm so excited to see what happens next week, and it just makes me more excited to finish reading the graphic novel because it's so interesting. It's so weird and out there and different from anything else that I've ever seen, and funny and gruesome and just insane. This show is great. If you have not started watching this and you're just kind of trying to get a feel for how this show goes, there's 3 episodes, all 3 of them very solid, very funny, very interesting, and I definitely recommend this show to anybody who has a passing fancy for comic books turned to film, or just kind of a more morbid sensibility about how comedy should be handled. Anybody who likes Patton Oswalt, anybody who wants to see that clean-cut cop turn into a just nasty, nasty person, then this show is probably for you. And it's very in your face about everything, you know? It doesn't try to be something different than what it is. It is exactly what it is with no bumper room. And I am absolutely eating it up, and I hope that you are too. Make sure to give me a big thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Drop a comment down below if you want to have a conversation about Happy so far. Tell me what your favorite scene from this episode was. Make sure to subscribe if you want to hear about more nerdy stuff from me. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.